Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to Freedom Friday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am so filled with gratitude that you are joining me today as we complete our week on forgiveness and letting go. You know what powerful journey that we've been on, right? From Monday's exploration with Dr. Will about the power of forgiveness, and to Tuesday conversation with Ria Flanagan about moving from pain to freedom, and to Wednesday discussion with Jesse Hartnett about honoring our hearts, to yesterday threshold moments that we've covered so much ground together. All right, today we will be celebrating. We're going to celebrate the ultimate freedom that comes when we release the chains of unforgiveness. Because that's what unforgiveness is. It's a chain that binds us to our past limits. It limits our joy in the present. And it constrains our futures of possibility. But before we get into this topic, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love, and I'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. By bridging the gap between them all. And we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. But before we dive into this celebration of freedom, let's take a moment to ground ourselves and open our hearts to receive today's message, all right? So wherever you are right now, if you could just find a comfortable position. And if you're in a safe space, you need, and you're comfortable with closing your eyes, please do so. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And I want you to hold it for a moment. Now release slowly through your mouth. Now I want you to imagine yourself standing in an open field. The sun is shining. There's a gentle breeze blowing. And you can feel the warmth on your skin. But as you look down, you notice that there's heavy chains that is wrapped around your ankles, on your wrists, and in your heart. These are the chains of unforgiveness. Now, with each breath you take, I want you to see these chains beginning to loosen. And not because what happened was okay, but because you deserve to be free. Now, as you exhale, I want you to see the chains falling off, link by link. I want you to feel the lightness that comes as each chain is released. I want you to notice on how much more freely that you can move and how much more deeply that you can breathe. Now I want you to take one more final deep breath in. And with that, I want you to release that last chain. And I want you to feel yourself feeling liberated. This is the freedom that forgiveness brings. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help to ground us before we get into the topic at hand. All right, so freedom. Freedom isn't just the absence of a constraints. It's the presence of possibility. And when we forgive, we don't just release others from our judgment, but what we do is we release ourselves from the prison of resentment, bitterness, and pain. And as I reflect on all that we've learned this week, I'm struck by something that Dr. Will has said. He said, allow your forgiveness to mean something for your best and highest self. And that's what today is all about. It's about recognizing how forgiveness creates space for us to step into our best and highest selves. So let me share this with you all. When I remember when putting the show together, I didn't think that, well, of course I knew that I would relate to somehow, because I know really for us to move forward in life, really to start to let go of things, or letting go of things, or old beliefs and things, certain that there is forgiveness that has to be done, especially with forgiving ourselves. So for me, as I shared in Monday's show, that there was a few people, family members or loved ones that had been close to me at a point in time that I thought that I had forgiven them, but I honestly didn't forgive them to the fullness. And as just going through the week, especially today, and even after the meditation, is that I realized is that I can be honest that I've had a bit of blockage, excuse me. And now thinking about that blockage, it has come because I had held resentment to those certain people. Even during this week, I sat and I talked with my husband about, some things, and I talked to my daughter about some things, and the conversation about the people who I felt like that I thought that I forgave, and I didn't forgive them. That is more than me just saying that I forgive them and move on, and I'm going to move on because I'm going to forgive them. There is work that I needed to do, and I'm still in the process of doing it. But what I know now, especially learning from everything this week, is that I had to really sit in my truth and say, no, you haven't forgiven her. Because even the sound of somebody saying her name, you get irritated and resentment, like you trying to figure out, well, why she do this to you? And why I'm laughing now, because this gonna sound so messed up when I said, actually it wasn't even about you. And you know this. You know that it wasn't even about you. This was something that was going on with her. And just because you forgive her doesn't mean you still need to roll in the same circle as her. But give her grace. And just because I give her grace doesn't mean I still have to roll in the circle with her, because she showed me or who she is or potentially could be, if that makes sense. And even though I know, people go through things and they show up in certain ways. But for me, I can continue to love that person and root for that person all the while. But I can truly forgive her in my heart and know that I knew there's something going on with her. There was something going on with her. And God had to show me that this person is not equipped to be where I'm trying to take you to. Because I'm working on her with something else. And it's a distraction to you, and you probably a distraction for her. So now I have to reveal to you on why is that. But in the process of all of that, I've carried this pain with me for 3 years. I'll be 53, so 52 and a half. I'm giving myself 52 and a half years. And I'm going to say it today that I'm letting it go. Just this week in the whole, and it's so funny how everything falls in place with this whole week being about forgiveness, about letting go of things in our past, or how things could be so somatic to us, that it can cause, different things in our bodies to happen. You know what I mean? And then even with Jesse, talking about the heart. Yesterday I had an interview with an amazing guest that's coming on in May. And she did this breathing exercise with me. And I remember her saying, her breathing, it was so simple. It was like, about putting all of your thoughts and all of this breath and all of this energy towards your heart. And in that process, as I was doing that, I was just remembering of yesterday's show about that threshold, about that first threshold of going across in honesty. And I had to sit in it and like, girl, you ain't forget that, girl. Because why is it that every time somebody bring up her name, you get upset or you get resentment? I might not show anybody, but I can't lie to myself about the way I feel. But you know what she did? It really wasn't about you. That was some pain and hurt or some things that she was going on with herself, and she just chose you. You was the chosen one of her pain, which is still not good. But you see, Nyomi, you understand hurt people. That's a part of your gift and your magic. And this is what I said to myself. You understand hurt people. That don't mean that I have to say and take it. But you can forgive her and let her go about her life. And now allow it to stop you from doing what you need to do. And that goes for anybody else. And so now I'm going to actively, this was like a sign for me this week to truly actively, not just say I forgive you, but actively go into the forgiveness. A few months ago, we had a guest on, and I remember her giving me those exercises, and I did that exercise. I did. And she was one of the ones that was on my list. And there was a few of them that was on my list. But I thought that I was over with her. And the funny thing is, literally just about everybody that's on my list that I've talked to and had great conversations, but no, I hadn't talked to her. I haven't even given her the chance. And maybe that's what I'm holding on to, is that I had given everyone a chance but her to talk to me. And maybe I didn't trust myself. Maybe I thought I probably would choke her out. The old version of me would come out and I would choke her out or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. But now I realize, no, I won't. Because when I look at her, I will be looking at her from a place of empathy, a place of grace, a place of, that wasn't even about me, but it was you. That wasn't even about me. And also I can prepare myself, even if she don't take knowledge of her wrongdoing. In this moment, this is where I have to do self-care of myself and take care of myself. And not allow another person to have over me. Just like Dr. Will said, it's like the forgiveness. Make the forgiveness mean something for my best and highest self. And me having resentment towards someone who I loved, who I rooted for. That is not my highest self. When I hold resentment like that resentment don't feel good. You tell me you swallow some resentment and you tell me how that don't feel good. It don't feel good when you know y'all had great times together. that don't feel good. When just the mere sound of her name is like, because people knew that was your hanging buddy. That was your, and you can't even begin to even tell the conversation with them because you don't want to embarrass that person on what that conversation is. That's how much you love that person, because you don't want to share that conversation with them, because you don't want to be like, this was so petty on how it was, but I can no longer continue to go with the disrespect of me, of my character, of anything else, because I knew it wasn't me. But I allowed my pride and my ego to get in the way, to where I held on to this for 2.5 years. And it's time for me to let it go. Y'all know when I get on here, I always share a little bit with you all, so you can all see it in real time. And honestly, when I chose that topic of forgiveness or letting go, it was really to do with forgiving ourselves, forgiving me, forgiving you, forgiving the things, and I guess this is a part of it. To have grace with myself is that I allowed this to happen for 2.5 years in my life, in my soul and my spirit, and not allowing me to truly be my highest self. But now I know. And I thank God for that gift that I just got. I thank him for that gift. I thank God for that gift. All right, so I just shared that with us. All right, so let's explore 3 dimensions on how of freedom that open up when we forgive. So freedom from emotional bondage. So that's something that I just explained to you, what I just went through, right? You see, but this first freedom is about releasing that emotional bondage. That's when we hold on to a past hurting that we remain emotional tethered to them. And we might physically leave a situation, but emotionally that we're still there, replaying it and reliving it and reacting to it. So I want y'all to remember what Ria had taught us about how trauma stays in the body. And I just spoke about that. Unforgiveness creates the same kind of stuckness. Our bodies hold on to hurt, creating patterns of tension and stress that becomes a new normal. But when we forgive, when we truly and actionably forgive, we experience a emotional liberation. You see, the past no longer has power over our present emotions. See, when we think about what happened without even being consumed with the anger and pain, and then we reclaim our emotional landscape, right? So what I want to do, I want you to try this for me. I want y'all to notice one situation where unforgiveness has created emotional bondage for you. And how does it affect your daily emotional state? And how would it feel to release that emotional burden? So let me share with you all that that conversation that I just shared with you all about myself and one of my loved ones. And even me saying that and coming to that conclusion and sharing that with you all now, I feel so much lighter. I really, honestly do. I really, honestly do. Because I myself had to sit in my truth and understand, like, hold on, there is still something that is going on with you that you still, even the mere them asking, well, how's she doing? When the last time you talked? And your nose started to flare up, and you let it, kind of sit in your spirit. Like, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, didn't you forget that chick? Like, no, you really didn't. Because she really, even though it wasn't about you, but she really did hurt your feelings. But then you got to take yourself out of the equation. Like, that was about her. That wasn't even about me. That was it. So you allowing somebody to just block your whole little thing. And the second one. Our second one is freedom of new connections. So when the second freedom is this is a space of new connections, right? You see, unforgiveness, it doesn't just affect our relationship with the person who hurt us, but it affects all of our relationships. It creates a filter through which we view others, often causing us to project our past hurts on present situation. So as Jesse has showed us on Wednesday, she said, when we honor our hearts and release what no longer serves us, that we create space for authentic connections. Then we can be present with others rather than viewing them through the lens of our past wounds. And you know what? I feel that is so true, because we all have these scars and these wounds that we steady are, trying to keep healed, and put a little band-aid on them and stuff like that. um I truly believe it's just releasing and truly giving that person forgiving. That person does not have to be around you. And it's so funny that I remember in the book was Tender Soul. And I remember sharing this with you all last year, right before our break, that I was going back home to Chicago. And I know you're like, damn, Naomi, you got a lot of family members, you man. But I got a whole bunch more that love the hell out of me, and I love them back. But there was some situations back there that I didn't think that I could go back there. And I remember reading that book. So that book, the rest of that book prepared me to go back in a way that was so amazing to me. But the thing was is that I didn't apply it to the other one. Yeah, I didn't apply to her. And I remember even that week that I was leaving, I remember a DM being sent to me, and I remember blocking her instantly. And this was before I even read, I got to sign or read the Untethered Soul. So it probably was for her. But I wasn't trying to hear that right now. And so I had to go through some things. I had to go through some things and figure it out. And now I'm here. Now I'm here. I'm here. And she probably listened to the podcast. She probably do. I still love her, but there's a newness of this relationship and what it looks like. So remember when Dr. Will and I, when we talked about how we won't be the same in those relationships once that forgiveness is gone, because that is not the same. We are not the same people. There has been damage and hurt that has caused that old relationship or that old connection to be strong like it was. And so this is a new one, whatever it is, And I guess for me is that I have to continue to allow God to keep guiding me, and him removing those people in my life, whether it's for a season or whether it's forever. But when he continues to show me different signs and different things like that, it's telling me that there is more work that I need to do. There is more people that I need to forgive. That is something that you really need to sit down and look at, really, because there's still some blockage. And this is just me being real honest with you all. And so this week, I really been sitting with it and like, okay. And so I might just open that door back up, well, crack it open, or at least unlock the door, at least the screen door. She's still going to have to knock on the hard door. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, so here's an exercise that I went to talk and I don't even know if I said, but if I said it already, I'm going to repeat it. So this is an exercise that I would love for you all to do. Reflect on how holding on to past hurts has affected your ability to trust and connect with others. What will become possible in your relationships if you were to free from those old patterns? I know for me, they probably will open me up to trusting a little bit more with new people that come into my life. Because what I look at is that if my family members and closest friends could do these things to me and I've never done anything to them, what can strangers do? That has been my mindset for the past 3 to 4 years. And now that I've said that, this is why I needed to release that and forgive that and sit and stand in my truth and actually probably grant her that conversation for it to probably to release me of myself, if that makes sense. Yeah. And the last one, the third and perhaps the most powerful freedom is the ability to create your future unconstrained by your past. When we chain to unforgiveness, our creative energy is consumed by our hurts. Yes. We have less to give to our dreams, our purpose, and our joy. And as Dr. Will had talked about rewriting our narrative and becoming the hero in our own story, you see, this is only possible when we release the grip of unforgiveness and we reclaim our power so we can author our own lives. So here's a quick exercise for you all. I want you to imagine your life 1 year from now, and if you were completely free from the burden of your unforgiveness, what would you be doing? And how would you be feeling? And what dreams would you be pursuing that unforgiveness has been holding you back? My beautiful people, as we close out this week of forgiveness, I want to share something personal with you. In my own life, as I explained earlier, I've experienced the incredible liberation that comes from forgiveness. And that was when I went back home past summer. There were relationships that I held on for hurt for years, thinking that my unforgiveness was somehow pushing the other person. No, but I was the only one that was suffering. Suffering was me, right? So when I finally chose to forgive them, not because of what happened was okay, but because I deserved freedom. And everything changed in that aspect. The weight that I had been carrying, it was lifted when I was on that side of the family. And see, now the energy that I've been spending of resentment, it became available for joy and creativity and love. So now I realize that I still had more work to do, and I realized this week. And even as I just shared with you today, just even me speaking and telling that truth early on, I feel so much lighter now. So how I feel right now, that's my wish for you. That's my wish for each one of you, that you can experience the profound freedom that comes when you break the chains of unforgiveness. And if you got some time this weekend, I'm going to give you a little work, just a little bit, real quick. I want you to choose one relationship or situation where you're ready to practice forgiveness. And I want you to create a forgiveness ritual that feels meaningful to you. Perhaps it's writing a letter like we talked about yesterday, or creating art, or performing a symbolic release. And then after your ritual, I would love for you to journal about how it feels to be free of this burden. And then practice self-compassion. If memories or feelings arise, forgiveness is a process. It's not a one-time event. All right, and I would love if you share your experiences with us with hashtag the season of self-love and hashtag Freedom Friday. Your journey might inspire someone else to break their own chains of unforgiveness. So next week, we will continue our exploration of letting go by focusing on releasing perfectionism and embracing our authentic selves. It's going to be a very powerful week. So be sure to join us. So until Monday, remember, forgiveness isn't something you do for others. It's a gift that you give to yourself. The freedom it brings you is your birthright. So I want you to claim it. I want you to embrace it. And I want you to watch how it transforms every aspect of your life. You all have an amazing weekend. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.